Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Rock Bottom Airsoft. It's good to see you again. If it's your first time here, then as always, it is good to see you and I hope you're going to stick around. Okay, well, welcome to our weekend video. Those of you who follow the channel already will know that we normally upload midweek, normally on a Wednesday, and that sort of gameplay videos, that type of thing on the midweek videos. And on the weekends, normally on a Saturday, like today, we'll upload one of these studio videos where we look at all things Airsoft, gear, tech, replica reviews, unboxings, that kind of thing. A little bit of everything in our great sport and hobby that is Airsoft. So if you enjoy that kind of thing, then do get subscribed to the channel and that way you won't miss any of my uploads. Okay, well, with that out of the way, let's have a look at what we're going to discuss today. So today, what I'm going to take a look at is something that you guys who follow the channel will know I am a massive fan of, particularly when I'm in game and when I'm doing these videos, and that is gloves. I really like gloves, specifically for Airsoft, and there's a number of reasons. I'm going to discuss that just now and show you a couple of examples of my gloves and you know what kind of pricings you can expect to pay for a decent pair of gloves for Airsoft. The reason this has come about is at my most recent game there was a couple of newer players and they didn't have a pair of gloves, and in previous games and this game they take hits to the hands, and that proves why gloves come in handy. So let's get into that then. We'll get a few pairs of gloves out here so you can see. Now, unfortunately, as you guys might have noticed, I am a big fan of one particular brand of glove. So I'm sorry about that, guys. There's not that they're necessarily any better than other brands of gloves that you guys might use. It's just I particularly like the Mechanix Wear brand. So that is why my gloves all tend to be Mechanix Wear. There are lots of other brands and there's lots of more expensive brands than these as well, but I just find that these are really good value for what I pay, and they've had quite a beating. So, but that's not why those are there. So before we get into the individual types of gloves you can get, why in Airsoft is it really important, in my opinion, I mean you might disagree, but in my opinion, why is it really important to wear a pair of gloves when you play in Airsoft? Well, my reasoning behind it is first, and possibly the most obvious one, if you've ever played Airsoft and you get shot in the knuckles or on a finger or on a fingernail, believe it or not, it really hurts. I mean, you can get a slight sting from being hit with a BB anywhere, as most of you will probably know. But if you have had a hit in the hand, you will be able to attest that, especially if you get hit on the fingernail, or something like that, if you're holding your rifle like this and you take a shot right on the fingernail, that really hurts, guys. It's quite painful. Now, with a pair of gloves on, depending on the type of gloves you decide to go with, it does lessen that impact. It doesn't hurt quite so bad. It's not going to sting quite as long. Now, if you play outdoors like I do, and it's winter, and it's really cold, and you've not got your gloves on and you get hit in the hand, it hurts even more. So the big thing about gloves is it does protect your hands from impacts from BBs. Now I mentioned about the cold there. If you're an outdoor player like me, I play woodland, as many of you follow the channel already know. In the winter, in the cold months, the gloves serve another purpose. They keep your hands nice and toasty warm, stop you getting all cold and chapped hands and things like that. So that's another thing why gloves are really handy. Now the next thing is very dependent on where you play. I would imagine if you play CQB or outdoor, most Airsoft sites that you play at are going to have hazards for your hands. Now you guys will know we're running, we're crouching, we're ducking, we're on the floor, we're resting on bits of structure, that type of thing. Now at my home site at Tasball Airsoft, most of the structures are made of wood. Now, one thing you'll find with wood is, especially when it's outdoors and it gets old, you get splinters and it can break. You can get sharp edges. Gloves protect your hands against those types of things. If you're indoor CQP, there's probably wood. There are jaggy items or things that you could cut your hands on or get splinters. Obviously, gloves will help protect you against that. The other side of it as well is if you play woodland like myself, you'll know that there are all sorts of vegetation that can hurt your hands, like brambles, sharp branches, that type of thing, and a pair of gloves will also protect you against that. So protection is a big thing with gloves. From a replica's point of view, one good thing about wearing gloves, especially if you're wearing, if you're using steel replicas, or if you have replicas that are prone to corrosion, your hands can actually cause corrosion in blued steel. Not something we come across a lot in Airsoft, to be honest. Most of our replicas are either made out of alloy or painted pot metal. Some are steel, so if you're trying to avoid rust, you know, gloves help with that as well. I also find that gloves can help with grip. So if you're talking from a tactical point of view, gloves can help you to grip your pistols. They can also help you to grip your rifles. They just overall can give you better handling of whatever replica you're using outdoors. And that's especially if it's raining or damp or your replica gets wet. Again, they help with that. Now another side for gloves for protection, if like me you like to use pyro in your games, or any kind of grenade to be honest, gloves protect your hands from those. Really I prefer not to handle pyro with bare hands. You can quite easily get burnt by smoke grenades as well as pyro frag grenades. One of them goes off in your hand, it's going to hurt either way, but you know, a decent pair of gloves is going to offer you some form of protection against being burnt or against explosive or concussive damage from one of our replica frag grenades, pyro frag grenades. So yeah, gloves, brilliant. I always wear them. I don't go in game without a pair of gloves. As you guys know, if you've been following the channel, I always wear them in the videos, but I just think they look cool as well. Now that then gets us on to how much do you want to pay for a pair of gloves? Well, let's be honest here guys. You don't necessarily have to buy tactical gloves or what are billed as tactical gloves. You could buy any kind of safety gloves or any kind of walking gloves, to be honest. Any form of glove is going to offer you some form of protection, and if it doesn't, it's going to keep your hands warm in the cold. So any kind of glove is going to do. Now, I prefer the tactical gloves because they go as part of your loadout. They look cool. You can go silly money on gloves if you go in for the full-on tactical ones, like brands such as Oakley and brands like Mechanix here do very high-end tactical gloves, which I myself don't go for. They're a bit out of my price range personally, but you could go anywhere up to £200 British pounds. You can go insane money for for a set of gloves. Now, from a point of view of my spend on gloves, I never usually spend any more than 40 British pounds on a pair of gloves. There are different types. We'll have a look at these Mechanix ones that I've got here, just purely because these are the ones I use. These are my gloves that I would normally use in game. So if you're going for a standard set of Mechanix gloves, the original Mechanix gloves, these retail for around about 22 British pounds here in the UK. Much more affordable over there in the States, I believe, because these Mechanix gloves are an American brand and they are superb. So yeah, so that's what we're paying here. I would imagine that they will be much more affordable over stateside there. So you're looking at about £22 for those types of gloves. They're your standard original Mechanix gloves. Now these gloves have nice suede inserts on the inside here, so they offer limited protection from cuts and abrasions when you're walking about and touching things. They don't have a lot of insulation, but they will keep your hands warmer than having no glove. And there's not a lot of protection on the top here. There is protection on the fingertips though. So they will protect your nails in the event of an impact. And you can get these in loads of colours, guys. I always get black, but you can get them in multicam, OD green, you can get them in these tan colours. You can get them in all sorts of colours. I will put a link in the description to a website that has a good range of Mechanix gloves and a good range of other brand gloves as well, and then you can have a look yourselves if you fancy getting a pair after watching this video here. So you look at about £22 for those. Now these two, the reason I show these is you can see these have had a lot of abuse. These are semi-fingerless. These are actually a glazer's glove, but they're still Impact and they're still Mechanix and they still look cool. But they have a nifty feature that they've got cutouts on these fingers here, so it's full protection on the rest of your hand, But if you're sniping, or if you've got a hair trigger and you want to have a bit of feeling in your trigger finger, then these gloves are ideal. I also sometimes wear them in summer to stop your hands getting as sweaty, because obviously you've got part of your hand uncovered. Now these gloves are superb for that kind of thing. They've got padding on the inside, padding here. They've got impact protection, which is this rubber coating across your knuckles and your fingertips. So these offer a load of protection against BB strikes, against cuts and grazes from whatever you may be handling when you're in the field, and also against grenades. You can also get them as a full finger option. They still have the impact protection on them and fingertip protection. But you've got the two options. Now if you're going for the impact ones, you're normally looking at around about 40 plus British pounds. So the price goes up a little bit. But like I say guys, I'll put a link in the description to where you can get those. So that's my personal favourite. That's one of the things I tend to splurge a bit on, if you like. I like to spend a bit of money on a decent pair of gloves so that they'll last me a while. I mean, as you can see, these ones have never been used in the field, so they look brand new, but they do offer good protection and a bit of insulation. Now, you don't have to spend those levels of money. I'll put a link, as I say, in the description to a retailer that I use for a lot of my gear here in the UK, and they have a good selection of gloves. And you can start from around about 10 British pounds, and as I mentioned before, you can go all the way up to about 200 British pounds for a pair of gloves. You can get them from brands such as Viper. They usually do an affordable range. Even Nuprol, they make Airsoft gloves, as it were. But you don't have to get them from an Airsoft brand that's known. You can get them from Mechanix, which are decent and don't break the bank and are really good gloves. Oakley do gloves. There's a number of different brands of tactical equipment maker, if you like, that would make gloves. And it's just really down to personal preference, guys, of what you prefer. You can get them with like big knuckle protectors on them and all sorts. There are all sorts of options, which I couldn't go through all of the options you've got for gloves. But I will put a link in the description as to where you can get a decent pair from. And then you can make up your own minds what you prefer. And as I say, that's me just giving you my reasons why I think that it's well worth in your kit bag having a pair of gloves and remembering to put them on game day, because they are at some point going to save you from a black fingernail or a very stingy hand, which isn't good anyway around. Okay guys, so just a quick one today about gloves, about getting a pair of gloves, the gloves that I wear. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. Just a thing to mention is I've noticed recently that the comments aren't coming through for my notifications on YouTube always. So I apologise if I haven't got back to a comment yet. I'm trying to sort that out. If you do have any questions for me about this kind of stuff or about Airsoft in general, guys, then do drop me a comment below. I will always respond to a comment. I might not get back to you straight away, but I will always respond. And as I say, if I haven't responded to any comments recently, there have been some issues with my comments coming up on notifications. So I'm making my way through and see if I've missed any. So I apologise in advance in that. If you want any more from myself, you can find Rock Bottom Airsoft on Facebook and Instagram. Now again, I'm very sorry, the Facebook's been a little bit quiet recently. Not had a whole amount of pictures to put on there, but that is because I'm back in the field, so I've been focusing on getting my energy back up and playing as many games as I can. So bear with me on that one, guys. Like I say, if you like this video, then please do drop a like in it. And if you are enjoying the channel, then don't forget to subscribe, and then you won't miss any of my uploads. But apart from that, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.